That's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Very nice. Thank you for doing that. It's also peaceful. Well, we have a few more seconds to go. There's nothing like a rule we can't start early, but we're missing a few people. So we can't start yet, but I can announce snowpack's at 114% in our area. Our drainage basin, other parts of the state have more. Everyone's over the average, which is nice, and which we sure need. All right. Cameron. It says phone call.
Yeah, our Zoom meeting's just coming on.
Well, you can't start till the lawyer gets here, so Devin, welcome. We'd like to welcome everyone to the Board of Commissioners. Are you ready, Sarah? Sounds good? Okay. For this, the 19th of March, 2024, we welcome you here to our Board of Commissioners meeting for Washington County, and appreciate those who prepared the agenda. We'll begin tonight by welcoming those also on Zoom, if any, but with an invocation by Deanna Martin of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and part of our Interfaith Council. Deanna, please come on up. We know Tim really well, and it's great to have you come.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, as we begin this Washington County Commissioners meeting, we give thanks for this great country that we live in and for the opportunity to participate in the political process. We give thanks for this lovely area in which we live and for the rain and snow that we've had, and pray for continued moisture to be with us to sustain us. We're grateful for these county commissioners who've been elected and pray for a blessing to be with them. Bless their families and bless them as they make decisions, that they will have open hearts and minds and have wisdom and empathy. We are so grateful for all the blessings thou bestows upon us, and we give thee thanks and praise for these in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Deanna, and say hello to Tim for us. Our next item is the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Michael Perez, Junior ROTC Cadet. We'll follow your instructions.
Please stand and pledge allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Tell your other cadets how we support and appreciate them. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Our first order of business is the consent agenda. This consent agenda is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than requests to remove an item, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is not debatable.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt our consent agenda consisting of the following items. A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for March 6th, 2024 through March 19th, 2024. B, consideration of commission meeting minutes of March 5th, 2024. C, consideration of administrative adjustments for real property. And D, consideration of administrative adjustments for personal property. And that is my motion.
I second the motion.
Motion and a second, no division of the items listed. All in favor say aye in the consent agenda. Aye.
Aye.
And obviously no opposed, passes unanimously. Next is our Board of Canvassers meeting. This motion to open this Board of Canvassers meeting is required.
I move that we open the Board of Canvassers.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Appreciate you being here. Ryan, our clerk auditor.
Good afternoon. I am here today to go over the canvass results of the Democratic presidential primary election. Have these results that I'll read for you. Registered voters, 9,157. There were 3,700 ballots cast in total. Let's just go over the results. Joseph R. Biden Jr. received the most votes, 90.39%, at 3,328. Marianne Deborah Williamson received 3.72%, which is 137 votes. Dean Benson Phillips received 133 votes, which is 3.61%. Gabriel Cornejo got 1.36% of the vote with 50. And Frank Lazada got 34 votes, which was just less than 1%, 0.92%. That's the official results. I would ask that you certify the official results as the Board of Canvassers. Do you have any questions before you do that? It's a pretty small election. It was good to get another one under our belts before the big ones show up.
And speak for a minute about how not only did you count those, but that you verified as well.
We did. We did above and beyond what's required by the state audit. It's just something that we've decided to do here in Washington County. Is we did at a precinct level, we hand counted. We randomly selected some precincts, and we pulled those paper ballots and we hand count them and compare it to what the reports are coming from our tabulation machines. And that's something I plan on continuing doing throughout even our big presidential election in November. So.
Did you find that you verified?
100%.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you for doing that, and your team as well. That's very appreciative.
I have one question, and maybe this is a question for Melanie. Is this the second cycle that we've done a presidential election for the Democrat side? I know the Republicans do the caucus presidential. Four
She
cycles,
says,
four
yeah.
times? Oh, two times?
Before.
Okay. Oh, before, okay, very good. Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the results of the canvass that have been presented to us here today for the Democratic presidential primary.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. we need a motion now to close the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the Board of Canvassers.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, I move that we open the regular commission meeting.
And
I just wanted to, I failed to give a shout out to our staff. They just did a wonderful job and they're getting things, we've got new equipment and they've just done a really good job of streamlining processes and making it more efficient and accurate, so.
now, were there any Republican voters that asked where their ballot was?
That could have been. It
I know that- I know
it
the
was
answer
an
to that
open
question.
primary, so
Yeah.
they could have asked for one, but anyways,
Very
thanks.
good.
I'll second your motion, Commissioner Snow, to open the regular meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're back to our number one item, a presentation 2023 year in review video. Number 4, the administration building. Adam.
So I've said this other weeks. I guess I should just have we should have a video of me saying this part. But for anybody who's not been here before, is watching for the first time, instead of doing a speech for a state of the city or a state of the county for us, we wanted to utilize something a little more engaging, a little more interesting, and use modern technology with video where we could actually show some of the things that we were doing. And so this is the fourth part of a year in review, so kind of a return and report to the citizens of Washington County, as well as many of the videos look forward to things that we're trying to accomplish in 2024. This one is on the administration building, which I know we feel like we've been in here for a while. We moved in about a year ago. And so again, this is the year in review portion, which was last year, and then talking about it now. So that's this week's video, part 4.
One of the major accomplishments of 2023 was the construction of the new Washington County Administration Building. It is a building for generations. The prior older building had served many generations, but now we look forward to the future as an opportunity to serve our citizens well in this new Washington County Administration Building.
When you turn the chapter and celebrate something as monumental as a new county administration building, it's kind of fun to reflect back and think about how blessed Washington County has been. This will be only the third building that we've dedicated in our 170-year history. And here in downtown St. George, you get to see our other 2 buildings that have served us so well. We have our historic courthouse that sits up on Boulevard, and then we have our courthouse that was built over 60 years ago right here to the east of us. You know, when I think about this, I think about all of those who have come before, all the other county commissioners, all of those pioneers who worked so hard to build this community and build this county. And we've grown so much over that time. By the time we moved into this building this year, we had departments in the county scattered across 5 buildings in the county. This made people that come have a difficulty in finding services. We're also very proud of the fact that all of this construction was done without having to bond or go to the taxpayers and ask for additional tax dollars. We did this through years of discipline and savings so that we were able to build this county that'll serve generations to come without putting additional burden on our citizens of today.
Now, I can say, like most of the citizens of Washington County, that I didn't have a whole lot to do with this building. The years of planning and of saving were done before I was ever elected. This building was mostly built before I was ever elected. But I get to appreciate those who came before me, as most of Washington County should now. This building was built without having to raise a single penny of debt or taxes. That is really monumental. That you could see this building, which is beautiful in design, but not pretentious. It's not opulent, but it is an honor to the citizens of Washington County, both those that live here now and those that came before. And it was done without any debt. So when people drive by and they say, look at that big building, well, realize that the cost stayed low at about $205 a square foot, which, if you know anybody in the construction industry, is really low for a building like this. As you drive by and you look at this monument to Washington County, realize that it was done with prudent financial planning for many, many years, that we could save enough to pay for it, and then to keep the cost down, it took diligent project management. COVID hit right in the middle of this, and supply chain issues and costs that ballooned in other areas, we were able to avoid a lot of the impact of that by staying on top of things, ordering early, locking in prices. And so I am very grateful for those that came before me and those that worked on this building to keep the costs down, to build a beautiful edifice for Washington County citizens and a place that these services could be housed for many, many years to better serve the citizens and the visitors that come here.
It's fair for citizens to ask the question, well then, how did you pay for this brand new Washington County Administration building? Well, let me tell you, there's a lot of history to that. Little by little, over decades, department heads would save here and there and return to a fund that accumulated enough money to accomplish this great task. Of course, they saw in that process that eventually you would get a new building. And that, of course, all of that was done while we maintained the lowest mill levy rate in the state. So citizens contributed bit by bit, but it was also the frugality of department heads and elected officials who said, someday we're going to build a building. All of this occurred under the administration and involvement over decades from one of our commissioners who passed away and did not see the completion of this building, Dean Cox. As administrator, he had the vision to see what was going to happen on this corner. They purchased real estate from those buildings that were here. They did surveys, and they always looked forward, especially under that vision of what could happen, to making sure that it did happen. We are so delighted that 14 departments are under one roof, making it so much easier for citizens to get the services that they need. This is literally a one-stop shop. But hats off to those who planned for it. We get the advantage of seeing it in reality.
When you build a building that you expect to last more than your lifetime, in fact, you expect it to last multi-generations, you want to take into account both your needs now and needs into the future. And we did that by basically overbuilding this building. So when you drive by and you think, boy, that is a big building, just realize that an entire third floor is set aside for future needs. It hasn't been completely finished. It is what you would call warm shell. Also, one of the things that we have to acknowledge is all of the hard work of our contractors and subcontractors who work here. As has already been mentioned, this happened during COVID when prices were escalating, labor was hard, and yet with Watts Construction as our general contractor and all of their subs and tradesmen who came in and worked on here, you can see the craftsmanship of this great building. And also, we couldn't have done this without the hard work of our county administrator, Nicole Felshaw, who basically oversaw almost every aspect of this job as the project manager. Her hard work and diligence on the building of this building saved the county and the taxpayers of Washington County millions of dollars and brought out even more beauty that people will be able to see for a very long time in this building. We also want to thank our architect team, Simpson and Coulter, who did such a great job. It was our goal in building this building. We had a couple asks. One is it be functional. One also that the citizens be able to use it and it was user-friendly. And also that it be something that was timeless and really reflected well on our community. I believe that we've achieved all of those in the construction of this historic and new county administration building.
If you look throughout history, Americans have always celebrated major monuments, railroads, the opening of new buildings with ribbon cuttings and dedication, and with some festivity and pomp and circumstance. And we did the same thing with a ribbon cutting and a dedication of this building in mid-September. While we moved in the early spring, it took a while to get all of the departments in and some of the odds and ends worked out and some of the kinks. And so in mid-September, we held a great party. Elder Matthew Holland from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints came and dedicated the building. We held the ribbon cutting, and we officially opened for business for the citizens of Washington County, as well as for the tourists that come here. We did that to show that this is a place that should be celebrated. This is a place for the citizens that they own, that their taxpayer dollars purchased, and that really belongs to them. We also welcome them to come in to the many visitors, the 6.2 million visitors we get a year. They come to the visitor center here that was built on the ground floor. So they can come and experience all that Washington County has to offer, where to find it and where to go. And we have such a diversified portfolio of activities that they can do, as well as the Habitat Conservation Plan area where they can interact with the desert tortoises and the things that make Washington County unique. And for all of those things, we were happy to have a great celebration, but most of all, so that this building is something that the citizens can be proud of, that they can say this is ours, and come into a beautiful and functional building that will serve their needs for the next 75 to 100 years.
Well, we offer our thanks to the team that helped put that together as well, and the videographer and the narrative, and Nicole really put together, like, keep us on track so it wasn't 25 minutes long, because we're proud of it, and we could have easily spoken about every little detail, but hopefully everyone appreciates the building. My vote is the Academy Award goes to Victor on this one.
I just like that we show these videos because Commissioner Iverson really loves to see himself on camera.
I do.
It's his favorite thing.
Yeah,
So I'm just glad that we get lots of his, so he can fulfill that dream of his of being on screen.
I just kind of have this cringe every time
Would you like to thank anybody?
yeah,
My family.
my family, everybody
Well,
loves me.
These are viewable on our website as well as accessible where else? Facebook?
YouTube and Facebook.
YouTube, Facebook. Okay, thank you.
People should
next-
go there because it probably only has a couple views right now.
Yeah,
That's the problem with YouTube. It'll
Yeah.
track how many people actually watch it.
yeah, the 5 of you could double our viewership. Having said that, our presentation next is from the Dixie Conservation District, and appreciate Stuart being here, part of the Utah Department of Agricultural and Field Soil Health.
Stuart, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, commissioners. Appreciate being here. I'm joined by Kelly Blake,
Yeah.
who's a supervisor. I think most of you, if all of you know Kelly and all the good work he does in
Yes.
the community and for our Dixie District Board. We were originally on the agenda to discuss a different issue, but in visiting with Devin, I think we have that one kind of taken care of. Is that right? Okay. Well, since I was on the agenda, and I'm kind of like Victor, I've never met a camera I haven't liked, or an opportunity, or a microphone anyway. It's been said I have a radio face, but I'll still take the microphone here for just a second. Real fast, I'm not joined by Tony Richards, who is with the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food and oversees the soil health program. There were some misunderstandings, and then there were conflicts with meetings down to the water users conference. And so a lot of the folks are down there, and that's a big deal here in the area. But Tony apologized. As you may know, just to touch on that a little bit, the Soil Health Conference that Tony oversees brought in 400 people in first part of February. And they stayed here for 3 or 4 days. We were down there to the convention center. They were in Hurricane looking at soils, testing. It's a very big deal in proper soil and nutrient management, that type of thing. There were speakers from all the United States and Mexico, and I was able to get to part of it. But Tony does a great job. He works in conjunction with a lady that I work closely with in Utah Association of Conservation Districts, Christy Davis, our executive director, and she works closely with Tony on that, as well as support from all of the districts. Our district helps sponsor that as well. So, but Tony, like I said, he sent his sorry he couldn't be here, but
Yeah.
so it goes. But along soil health, a couple of updates since we were here in December. The Dixie Conservation District received through the soil health grant program the majority of a payment on an ATV drill, which is on the ground. It came actually during the Soil Health Conference. It's out to the USU Extension office. We had a work meeting last week. Kelly and other board members were there. We're looking at getting it up and running. It'll just hook onto an ATV and be able to plant and work smaller acreage pieces. We did that in partnership with the Department of Agriculture, Washington County Commission. Commissioner Snow was there. We discussed that, USU Extension. So we're working on getting that up and running, working on insurance contracts, that type of thing, learning how to use it. So if you'd like to send your video crew that did that, once we get going, we'd be happy to take their help in doing an instructional video and a promotional video on that, because they did a fantastic job with that video. It was very well done. So real quick, I'll just, like I said, I won't take much of your time here. Lots of positive things are going on right now. We recently recognized Ryan Reese from BLM for his hard work and all the conservation projects he's doing. Ryan's fantastic. Sorry about canceling the banquet at the last minute. Hated to do that.
It's all right.
That was one of those things. Some good news, and this is kind of personal. Vail Irrigation Company last week was awarded a $950,000 grant to put an open ditch that's been there for 70 or 80 years or longer into a pipeline.
Yeah.
So we're excited about the water savings and the conservation efforts that's going to create. We continue to support Dixie Junior Livestock Show, Utah Arizona Strip range workshop that's going to be taking place here in a week or two. All these things, we're active, we're involved. Like I said, I've been around for a while now. I currently serve as vice president for the Utah Association of Conservation Districts. And a couple of weeks ago, I spent days in Richfield, Heber City, and Kaysville, attending combined zone meetings and meeting people from throughout the state of Utah. And we have some terrific people there and here, and it's fun, it's exciting. We have a terrific board right now that's made up of Kelly, Lloyd Jessup, Sam Larson, and Ken Richens from Hurricane, and myself. And Tice Palmer is our resource coordinator out of Panguitch. And so lots of good things going on. Terrific, like I said, terrific partnerships with the Department of Agriculture, NRCS, their state conservationist is terrific to work with, Commissioner Butters, and all the others, USU Extension among others. And all of you, we appreciate it. Like I said, anytime you want to send out a video crew, we'll let somebody else other than me take the lead on that. But with that, I will just hand you a sheet that has a picture of the drill, and
Great.
then I will be on my way.
Fantastic.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Stuart.
Stuart, you cover enterprise as well, right? It's the entire, or is that in another district? Okay. That you don't cover? Okay. But you cover all the way almost there, right? Because you cover Peno and some of that area. Okay. Okay. Oh, very good. All the way on the east side.
Well, Stuart, thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Appreciate the glue you are to that whole organization. And Kelly, thank you too.
Thanks.
All right, our next item is the Emergency Services Report from Sergeant Cashin, Washington County Sheriff's Office. Thanks for having a printout here for us.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Afternoon, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, so from February 21st through March 19th, we had 8 more search and rescue calls, 212 man-hours, brings us to a total of 19 SAR call-outs this year so far. Yes, we're a little behind what we've done in previous years, but we're really happy about that right now.
That's a good thing.
Yes, it's a good thing.
Maybe you're ahead.
I'm hoping we stay that way,
Yeah.
but
It's a golf score.
our weather's changing, so I think we're going to get busy. Out of that, we had 5 in-county residents, 6 out of county, and 10 out of the state of Utah. So we're seeing a shift of people coming from outside our county. On the 23rd of February, we had a stranded motorcyclist at Tucker Falls. A gentleman crashed his bike in the creek up there, got stranded. We went in and picked him up. On the 27th, we had a stranded motorist in Laverton Creek, so close to the same area. He was in his vehicle. I don't know how he got it stuck in the creek, but he did. By the way, we're not bringing their vehicles out, we're bringing them out. So,
Yeah.
on the 12th of this month, we had a stranded motorist in Smith Mesa. Apparently their vehicle broke down. There was a husband, wife, and 2 kids. They walked away from the vehicle trying to find their way out and got lost. So obviously, we went in, found them, and got them out, left the vehicle there. On the 13th, we had overdue climbers in Water Canyon. Walsar was en route, and the DPS helicopter. They apparently found their way out. Someone had actually, another hiker had heard them yelling for help. And so that's how we ended up getting called that they found their way out. 14th, UTV rollover on Sand Mountain. Luckily, all 3 subjects were okay. UTV was a little damaged, but that's about it. 15th, injured mountain biker on Bear Claw Poppy Trail, 21-year-old female. She crashed and injured her shoulder. We went in, found her, brought her back out, turned her over to the ambulance, and she headed off to the hospital. On the 16th, we had a telemedic alarm. You know what those are? We're getting a lot of them, whether they're on the person, on their Apple Watch, in the UTVs, in the vehicles. They just say that there's a crash. So that's what this was. Sometimes we find people, sometimes we don't, but that was a UTV that rolled with 4 subjects. All of them were okay. And then we had an InReach alarm, a Garmin InReach from Red Cliffs Recreation Area on the 17th. All it said was that they needed help. It was non-emergent, but needed help. Got another message from them while they were on their way in that someone had a broken ankle, so they located them, and DPS helicopter came and pulled them out, just because it would have been easier than trying to carry them out over a mile. We also did the off-road games last weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I don't know if you were aware of that out at Sand Hollow. It's getting bigger every year. The first year was last year, they had about 4,200. This year, we're probably around 6,000 people. I know they're pushing to go to 7,000 to 10,000 next year. What was interesting was all the people we met from all over. North Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, a guy from Canada. They're coming from all over to at least this particular event. So, but we had a really good time, did some medical stuff for people. All my SAR people were really happy to do it, and hopefully they give us a really good donation for SAR.
Perfect.
That's it.
I have a question about the telemedics calls. So these are calls that are generated. How do you process them? Because they're obviously coming from a device of some sort.
They're coming from either a motor vehicle, a UTV, or someone's phone, or like their watch. It indicates that there has been a crash of some sort. They crashed on their mountain bike, they crashed on their UTV, in their vehicle, and it's generated, goes to dispatch as a telematic alarm with a GPS coordinate. We don't know what it is. We don't know what we're going into. Sometimes it's been someone that dropped their phone and it set it off. Other times it's an actual accident. Last year we had a gentleman on his motorcycle in Warner Valley, went off a cliff, and all we got was a telemedic with the GPS. And it took us about 30 to 40 minutes to get to him and realize it was real. And he did survive, but he was not in good shape when we found him. So we have to go to them because we don't want to leave somebody out there that's in
Can't
trouble.
judge.
But that's what's happening a lot, yeah.
I think it's, Mr. Chairman, I think it's good to note this is not a perfect example, but 1, refused medical. 2nd one, denied EMS and was released. 4th, all units were canceled. 5th, no EMS was needed. Last one, they refused medical care and were released. Now, you don't make money. You're not a transport agency where you're going to make money like transporting them to the hospital like an ambulance would. But doesn't mean you didn't get called out, right?
It doesn't mean we don't get called out. I can give you an example. Those 3 days we were out there on this off-road record games, we pulled out a sliver out of a little girl's hand, a couple of scraped knees. We had a lady go down with hypokalemia, which is bad, and she did get transported. We had another gentleman fell and hit his head on the curb and got 11 stitches right here. So we had things that were going on. A guy blew out his knee on the hill. But we don't, we do medical, but we don't charge anything.
Yeah.
So
And that's my point. A transport agency, like an ambulatory service, will charge insurance. But people may say, well, okay, so you got called out, but you're going to make some money off the insurance, right? No, you don't make a penny off of this. And even if you were an EMS agency, that's all you did, most of your people, 5 of 8 of your incidents here, refused medical care. You wouldn't have made any money even if you did charge. Again, we say this every time, we thank your search and rescue, your deputies. And many times it's like, hey, we got them right there, and then, well, you know what, I'm okay, I've got the broken leg, but I'll have my parents take me to the hospital.
That is actually, I mean, we are a licensed advanced quick response agency in the state. We never charge for any medical. It is a cost of doing business and a cost of helping people. And that's all that matters. We don't, if they transport, that's fine. If they don't, that's up to them. That's their decision. We want to be able to help them
Yeah.
while they're in backcountry.
And they want
So-
you there. Please, thank
You're
you.
not making money was my point.
No, we are not.
Great point. Thank your team again
Thank you.
at every
Always.
call out.
Thank you, Sergeant.
All right, our next item are the purchase requests. I see Ray is here. Will you walk us through those?
Can I say it in advance, since we always do at the end? These are all budgeted items, but they are over the threshold under state law, and therefore have to be passed in a public meeting. We always say that at the end,
Great
right? I
job.
figured let's say it at the beginning this time.
I was looking forward to seeing that, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, I stole your thunder.
The first one I have here is for elections. This is for some equipment that replaces our ballot on demand. This will increase efficiency and reliability. What it is, it entails six of each of these things. There's a 9th generation iPad, cases, connection packages, there's pull printers, print toner, cabinets, and licenses, installation, and shipping. This is for a total of $30,760. The next one is for, it covers our fire suppression agreement with the state. This is for a fuel mitigation project. It's referred to as the Weiler job. It's east of exit 30 in the Browse and Pintora area. This specific requisition is for $34,531, but there is a separate cost of $7,174 to for an archaeological survey that was paid to a different vendor. So the total of this project is $41,705. The next few are for the fair. This first one is for the sound. There's sound for the 2 nights of the rodeo, demolition derby, the main stage and food court, community sound stage, 3 nights of concert lighting, concert stages and deckings, concert sound, and backline equipment for the Little Texas and I Am Toggy concerts. This is a total of $54,770. The next one is it's referred to as an open gate rental, but these gates act as metal detectors for fair attendees when after they pay their admission and are entering the gates. This includes the rental and the event support for a total of $13,544.35. And the next one is for the mobile video wall. There's 2 17 by 10 feet walls. One will be used at the entrance of the fair. The other one will be used for all the arena events. The cost also includes an LED screen tech. They did give us a 30% discount on the screen's cost, and they also gave us a multi-year discount, bringing our total to $25,956.02.
Almost sounds
good.
like we have a fair coming up.
Yeah, we do. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So,
And then that's all I have unless there's any questions.
Ray, thank you
Thanks,
for
Ray.
that. And thank you also for getting the trucks that are part of our leasing program ready for use. Can I have a motion on item 4?
I move
Chairman-
that we approve the purchase request as presented by Ray.
only if I can state that these items were previously budgeted. I'll second that motion.
With that addition.
Very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Appreciate you, Ray. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Item number 5, consideration of ordinance number 2024-1252-0, an ordinance adopting and implementing revised regulations for landscaping and water conservation for developing land in Washington County, Utah. Reed.
Hi, thank you, Commissioners. Yeah, this ordinance that's before you is basically making some language amendments to the ordinance. We previously passed the landscape ordinance back in December of '23, so just a few months ago. And what we're trying to do is have a uniform language between all the municipalities and the county so that the residents of the county can participate in the water efficient landscape program that the Water Conservancy District is offering. So there's just some minor language changes in the document that you have before you, but it's to bring all that into alignment.
Well, I've had the benefit of reviewing it with you and working on it, so I like the changes and makes sense. And I think the Water Conservancy District
Doug's here.
approves too.
Yes.
If you want to say any comments, you're welcome to approach. Just tell us kind of how you work together. It's not a public hearing, but I know you're part of the Water Conservancy.
I just told Reed that my philosophy is that when things are going my way, I'll just smile and wave, but here I am at the microphone. Commissioners, I'm Doug Bennett with the Washington County Water Conservancy District, and we've worked very successfully with your staff to develop a landscape and new development ordinance that ensures that we are continuously building the most efficient commercial, institutional, and residential structures anywhere in the state of Utah, and some of the most efficient structures anywhere in the western United States. It's part of a two-part strategy. So we're trying to get existing landowners to make some changes to their property using a rebate program to reduce their water demands, and then ensuring that the new development comes in and is not the kind of development that we have to retrofit in the future. And so this change in the ordinance essentially does both. It ensures that we have the best new structures and that we can offer these rebates to all of the residents in the unincorporated county.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you, Reed. Any other comments?
Well, Doug's been doing a great job countywide, and
Yes.
this is just a way for us to kind of participate. We're a little bit unique in most of our development. Most of the development that you deal with, Reed, is all of it's in unincorporated areas, but it's not usually the same. It's a little more spread out,
Yeah.
a little more diverse.
Bigger lots.
Sometimes they have their own small water companies, or they're even on a private well. But by passing this ordinance, we allow them to, we basically establish the standards countywide, and then also allow our citizens to participate. So those that are in the unincorporated areas.
Yeah, it's a popular program too. We get a lot of
It has
people that
been.
come in and ask about it and want to participate, so
Yep.
it's good.
Well, with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2024-1252-0, an ordinance adopting and implementing revised regulations for landscape and water conservation for developing land in Washington County, Utah. And that's my motion.
I second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Aye.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Reed. Thanks, your team. Thanks, Doug. Our next item is the resolution number R 2024-3275, a resolution approving a professional services agreement for Raven Egg Oiling in and around the Red Cliffs Desert Reserve. Very unique. Go ahead.
Yeah, you don't hear that every day, do you?
No. Hey, what do you do? Well,
So as you guys know, our HCP, or Habitat Conservation Plan, provides various protections for the desert tortoise in exchange for the ability to develop land within the county that's otherwise considered tortoise habitat. So one of those protections that we've been looking to try and provide is a better control mechanism over the ravens. Over the last 5 to 10 years, we've been studying the effects of ravens on our tortoises, and we've been seeing that it's pretty serious. Ravens are known predators of juvenile desert tortoises. And normally it wouldn't be an issue, if you think, raven's a native animal, the tortoise is native, why can't they just get along? But ravens are what we call a subsidized predator, and their population has exploded in an urbanized area like Washington County. And so we have probably tenfold or more the number of ravens than is normal, and that's sustainable for desert tortoises to continue to survive. And so we've been trying to find a solution to this, and ravens are also protected under the Migratory Bird Act, so it's not as simple as just going out and shooting a raven. So we've been working with Fish and Wildlife Service, and finally, as of about 3 weeks ago, they issued a permit to us. Actually, they issued themselves a permit, but we are allowed to be a participant on that as a sub-permittee. And that will allow us to start to implement lethal control on the raven populations here in Washington County. The most effective method that we have found in working with our partners is what is called egg oiling. You distribute some oil on the eggs. It's like birth control for ravens, and then those eggs never hatch. And so it is lethal control, but it's I guess, a little bit less, it's not as divisive as some of the other control methods, let's just say. And it also provides better benefits, because not only does it prevent ravens from expanding their population, in the long run, their population can actually come down. But meanwhile, while that raven is sitting on a nest of eggs that are never going to hatch, it doesn't have half a dozen mouths that it needs to feed. And so all of the tortoises during that season are protected. And they'll defend that nest and that territory from other ravens. So it has that other positive benefit of protecting the tortoises there. And nobody's going to eat them because those ravens are defending it, and they don't have to feed those extra mouths either. So
Yeah, because that, as I was reading through this, it begged the question, why you don't just crack the eggs? Are you saying that you want to keep mother raven
Yes.
occupied during the nesting
Exactly.
season?
We want her sitting on that, spending all of her time on that nest, not looking for tortoises somewhere else. And so it's a great way to kind of protect our tortoises while not directly killing as many ravens. And in the long run, we think it's going to just reduce the number of ravens in our county as well. So this is the first year we're going to try this method. It's been done in other areas like California and Nevada, and they've found that it's been very successful, and it actually has brought down the raven population. And so we're hopeful that as we start to implement it here, that it'll have a positive effect on our population of tortoises as well. It is something that we've budgeted for under our adaptive management budget. And so all of these expenses will be covered through adaptive management, which is our pre-approved budget that was already approved by the commission and our advisory committee. So we were lucky that we thought the expenses were going to come out a lot higher. But the team that we worked with is willing to train us. They're going to give us some equipment, and then we're going to be more self-reliant. We can treat a lot of these nests by ourselves, but we don't have the equipment to reach some of the really inaccessible nests. And they've got a specialized drone that will fly right up there, and it has an oil applicator, and
No
it'll
way.
spray the oil on the nest.
Because that was my
Yeah.
next question. Who
pretty
was going to
high-tech.
climb up? And I can just see you reaching over like Jack Black and, Lucha Libre or whatever, where he's Nacho Libre, where so the little drone just goes up there.
Yeah, it's not tiny drone. It's big enough because it's got to carry, the equipment and the oil and everything else. And they've got the expertise to do this. They've been doing it for several years. And then they're going to train us with a long extension pole. And we're going to do everything that we can, but there's just certain nests that we need their assistance on. And so this contract is to bring them out here up to 2 different visits. We can save costs if we can hit many of the nests on one visit. But the total contract is for over $13,000 in case we need both of those visits.
Interesting. That's
So
awesome.
I do have one question for you, Cameron.
Uh-huh.
Given that this is the federal government and they're protected under the Migratory Bird Act, are we someday going to have to budget for the therapy for the ravens that are confused because why do their bodies not work because their eggs just don't ever hatch?
Who knows? But
I'm guessing. I mean, that for a normal person, that's a ludicrous question, but I could honestly see that happening.
ravens are among the most intelligent animals in the animal kingdom.
They really are.
They're
So they'll be
incredibly
confused as to
intelligent
why their
birds.
eggs don't hatch.
They will be like, what's going on here? Something strange. And they're probably going to consider like, maybe it's just this spot. I need to stop nesting in the reserve. There's something, it's haunted or whatever, and they'll actually move locations if they have repeated failures, and they'll hopefully move further away from the tortoises, which would also be beneficial to
Iron
us.
County.
Yeah, they'll go up to Iron County. Who knows?
So, how many years do tortoises usually, or not tortoises, but do ravens live?
A dozen years or so.
Oh, okay.
hmm
I want to also thank Cameron for solving one of the great mysteries of my life, which is why I constantly found golf balls in my pasture. I couldn't figure that out, and
Oh yeah.
then you explained that ravens like to pick up golf balls because they think that they're eggs. And I do have ravens that fly around my house. And then they need to drop those in order to crack them. And so they obviously must have found my pasture as an open runway for egg cracking.
Yeah.
For years, I've been just puzzled, like which neighbor was hitting golf balls into my pasture.
Well,
and I just
Have we
couldn't
ruled
figure
that out entirely, though?
I'm pretty sure I have no golfers that would be hitting golf balls into my pasture. I'm pretty sure this
Yeah.
Raven theory is.
We have seen them do that, and like I said, they're really, really intelligent, so once they see that it's not breaking, that doesn't mean, you know, they're gonna stop doing it, because they might be teaching other ravens, hey, look, this is how you break an egg, or it's a very complex situation where we don't always know what's going on, but there's a reason why they're doing stuff like that. Yeah, they're figuring it out, or they're showing their friends, or who knows.
Well, yeah, because it kept happening, and they were new golf balls sometimes.
Yeah.
It wasn't like old golf balls, you know. So
And they do the same with the nuts. They'll crack the nuts that way, and they'll drop them and watch them explode, and then go down and eat the nuts.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just don't ever want to see a budget come across with Raven mental health therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope not either.
But if you ever do start shooting,
The permit does allow for that, but that's a last resort.
That's fine,
and
last
so there
resort,
is
just-
still a chance that we will end up taking a few by shooting if we miss the nest, but we're hoping that this approach will be more effective for
if
us.
so, you know who to call.
Okay.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3275, approving a professional services agreement for Raven egg oiling in and around the Red Cliffs Desert Reserve.
I'll second that motion, Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
and a second, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Cameron. Next item for Jacob Browning from our COA is resolution number R 2024-3276, a resolution approving the Washington County Council on Aging Food Preparation Agreement Amendment 5 with Trio Community Meals. Are their eggs oiled? Do
Yeah,
they
that's
come-
a tough act to follow, the exciting Raven policies. Not so as exciting as Ravens, but as we've all seen, many of you and many citizens throughout the county have seen that inflation's been a big problem. The COA is no exempt. The food away from home continues to rise and rise and rise with inflation, and be able to provide nutritious and well-balanced meals have become a big problem. And so instead of serving the same 5 dishes over and over again at we can find the cheapest dish, the Trio Foods have in their contract to be able to increase the rate based on the CPI index of showing inflation on there.
Gotcha.
They can go up to 6%, and that's where the negotiations started. We were able to find a medium there, and we were able to get them down to 4%. And so the numbers reflect a 4% price across for the 3 centers, for the Hurricane Center, the St. George Senior Center, and the Enterprise Senior Center. Side note, I wanted to let you know, I additionally was able to reach out to 5 County and talk to them about the problem, and that inflation is going to continue to be a big rise, and maximizing the dollars there. And we were able to adjust the price per meal rate, not the contract rate, on our federal dollars. So funds from the Older American Act, being able to pull more of the federal funds to cover in there. And we're working on a contract that will cover this exact increase of 4%. So this 4% increase will not cost the citizens of the county anymore. We'll be pulling in more federal dollars from the Older American Act to cover that 4% increase.
Very good. I appreciate that. Does this cover the soft serve ice cream?
Yeah. Well, the board actually still voted that they wanted to cover that. So the other fundraisers efforts have still continued the soft serve ice cream. That you guys are all welcome to come and have ice cream once a week.
I'm gonna have to go sample that.
You gotta try it out.
Yes. Well, with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we pass Resolution R-2024-3276, a resolution approving the Washington County Council on Aging Food Preparation Agreement, Amendment 5 with Trio Community Meals.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 8, also with you, Jacob, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3277, a resolution appointing board members to the Council on Aging Advisory Board, Kimber Atkinson, Barbara Hunt, Deanna Bringhurst, terms ending December 31st, 2026.
Yeah, this board here is part of the local COA board. It is made up of individuals throughout the county from each section, from each city. So some from Enterprise, some from St. George, and some from Hurricane. They provide valuable feedback and guidance in helping to keep relevance and always making sure we're not staying stagnant within the COA. And it's a really valuable board.
How many board members do you have?
I believe there's 9.
Oh, 9, okay.
Oh, great.
Because I noticed these 3 all have the same expiration date.
Yeah,
and
I think
their
we did.
appointment?
I think we did 3 every 2 years when
Okay,
we
very
appoint them,
good.
so that way we're not refreshing the board every time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3277, appointing board members of the Council on Aging Advisory Board, namely Kimber Atkinson, Barbara Hunt, Deanna Bringhurst, with terms ending December 31st, 2026.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Item 10, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3279, a resolution approving the lease of office space to the state of Utah for the Department.
Well, let's see, I think
Health.
we have
Oh.
one more.
Oh, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. 2024-3278, appointing board members to the 5-County Aging and Nutrition Services Advisory Board. Deanna Bringhurst, I checked it off because I saw her name twice. Term ending December 31st, 2024 on that board.
This one, this board, just really quick, it's the 5-County Aging and Nutrition Board. We get 4 representations or 4 representatives for Washington County. We cycle through every 3 months to different places throughout the 5 counties. So sometimes in Beaver, sometimes in Escalante, sometimes up in
Thank
Iron
you.
County on there. And it's a valuable board. They get to see the numbers for the federal dollars and the federal budget and meets that requirement for the grant.
Great.
Well, I appreciate anybody that's willing to be on a 5-county board, and especially this one, and they do a good job. So with that, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3278, a resolution appointing board members to the 5-County Aging and Nutrition Service Advisory Board, and that is Deanna Bringhurst, with a term ending on December 31st. No, let's see, is that
Right.
of this next year, of this
Yeah,
year,
I had a
2024?
board member resign and she's
So
just filling out that
finishing
term.
the term. Okay, very good.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Thanks.
Now to resolution number R 2024-3279, a resolution approving the lease of office space to the state of Utah for the Department of Health and Human Services. Nicole.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioners. So the state of Utah did reach out to me and was seeking some additional space in the building that we own at 178 North, 200 East. It's also known as Office Plaza. And we do have a little sliver left, which we were happy to lease out so that we can continue to
Good.
bring in income to the county. And so my recommendation today is that you approve this resolution and agreement subject to legal review. There's just a couple of things that we just want to work out with the state. But as of April 1st, we should be ready to go and they'll be occupying that, hopefully, with your approval.
Awesome.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3279, approving the lease of office space to the state of Utah for the Department of Health and Human Services as described by Nicole.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Always good to have empty space filled up. Item number 11, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3280, a resolution appointing members to the Southwestern Special Service District Administrative Control Board, Kathy Farnsworth, Don Roosh, Richard Kelly, terms ending December 31st, 2027.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a board, it used to be an elected board. They missed an opportunity to run an election last year, so you in a meeting a couple months ago made this an appointed board, and so staff published notice of these vacancies, and these are the names that are being presented to you for approval and appointment to the board.
Thank you. All right.
Very good. Well, we appreciate their willingness to serve their community on this board. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3280, a resolution appointing members to the Southwest Special Service District Administrative Control Board, that being Kathy Farnsworth, Don Roosh, Richard Kelly, and with their term expiring December 31st, 2027.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. That comes to the end of our current agenda. I'm looking for my paper, but these broadcasts are repeated, or at least this meeting is repeated on TVS cable channels 22 and 108 at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. They are also available on demand at youtube.com Community Education Channel. Thank you for attending. This meeting is adjourned. We have some papers to sign for you, Melanie, the Canvas results.